in terms of a single season, it would be him. And here we go. Jahmai Jones, first pitch swing. He rips it for center field straight away. Brandon Marsh goes drifting back near the shrubbery for out number one. We are underway from Citizens Bank Park after a tremendous Wall of Fame ceremony for both Jimmy Rollins and Ed Wade. And I got to tell you, I was fired up to play after listening to Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah, wasn't it? Talking about, just, what it was like to play in Philadelphia. And, hey, it's a tough place to play. If you didn't want to play hard and didn't care about winning, then you just kind of go, wow, let's go.
Here's Gleyber Torres. Honestly, as he was talking, I couldn't help but think about the Tigers and where they are right now, trajectory-wise, right? He was talking about how when he first got here, like they weren't a playoff mainstay necessarily, and he heard it when the team didn't play well, and then suddenly they go to that World Series in 2008 and they win it, and the way he was talking about that parade and the fans greeting them afterward, I can't help but think about what's at stake for the Tigers in the next couple of months to try to turn out a performance like Brad Lidge in their bullpen. And some of those additions for the Tigers, can you get to the finish line like the Phillies did back in 2008? Trey Turner handles this ground ball from Gleyber Torres, and they are quickly 2 away.
Yeah, I know just when they introduced a lot of the players and you see people like Steve Carlton and Mike Schmidt, who I grew up watching and also playing against, and that they were 2 of my favorites, 2 of the best that you're going to see. And just to see them come out, and Jimmy Rollins too, just talking about we were chasing their ghosts until we could finally, come out on top and win.
We always think of teams that won the World Series as a foregone conclusion, right? But they were part of something that was building as well. And so Andy Ibanez stands in after a 5-for-8 since his return, and he skies this to right. Castellanos, in the sunlight of this Friday evening, makes the catch, and rapid fire. To the top of the card, starting pitcher presented by Wallside Windows is Jack.
Yeah, Jack's coming off an outstanding outing against the Blue Jays last Sunday, throwing 6 shutout innings and striking out 7.
First one is downstairs and away. 1 ball and no strikes.
The combination last Sunday was his 4-seam fastball and slider that led to much of that success, but that knuckle curve still remains to be Jack's best pitch, with opponents hitting just 183 against it.
There's a check swing and a strike called. The first base umpire, Mark Ripperger, makes the call to a groan here in Philadelphia. They are pretty typically a crowd that'll hold back their feelings, though. 1-1. Misses 2 balls and a strike. I've been fortunate enough to do games here in August and September in past years, and this place is absolutely wired right about this time of year. But you look at it, I mean, they went a while without a playoff team. 2012 to 2021, there were no playoffs here. So that's where the parallel, you see a little parallel between Detroit and Philadelphia baseball-wise right now, and Tigers hoping to have that sustainability that the Phillies have had recently. Torkelson against the speedy Trey Turner has out number 1. Pitcher's duel was supposed to be tomorrow with Wheeler and Skubal, but looks like we got ourselves engaged in one here. Starting defense brought to you by Marygrove Awnings. Green, the former Philly, returning Matt Vierling and Wencel Perez. And then on the infield, Ibanez and Baez, Torres and Torkelson. Dingler has the plate. You have to have a Z at the end of your last name on the left side. You have to have a T at the beginning of your last name on the right side. And then Dylan Dingler carries the day. There's ball 1 to Kyle Schwarber, who has been pounding the baseball, but is 2 for 23 career against Jack Flaherty, with a lot of fastballs thrown to him. When you look at their history, this is a rare start to an at-bat for Kyle Schwarber from Flaherty, who's thrown him basically 3 out of every 5 pitches is a fastball.
It's a fastball, right. And then the first 2 pitches have been breaking balls. And maybe he's just getting them to look at that breaking ball, say, hey, we're changing things up. And then we'll sneak that fastball by him.
Or now Schwarber's got to do the calculation, like, is this the new and improved Jack Flaherty? Are we just going to see Uncle Charlie all night long?
I think he's saying, he's going to come in with that fastball eventually, and I'm going to sit on it. Ooh.
And there it is, and he dots him 2-2.
It's just that's where that sneaky fastball from Jack Flaherty, because of all those breaking pitches, especially that slider down, and as soon as he sees it down, he says, there's another breaking ball, and it just holds the line, catches the bottom of the strike zone.
2-2 and a check swing, and he went around. It's strike 3. It's a slider that does him in, and Kyle Schwarber, other than not liking the umpiring crew, has got to be like, who's this guy furnishing me breaking balls?
But that's where that fastball has been so good, and here he's throwing the slider off of it just like he did last weekend. But that very last pitch at the bottom of the strike zone, that fastball, got that swing right there because it looked the same as that previous slider or the previous fastball, and then because he threw the slider, he had to protect and couldn't hold up.
Tapper past Flaherty to Ibanez, and he uncorks for out number 3. In a 1-2-3 first for Jack Flaherty. We promised there will be a base runner at some point tonight, just not so far.
had to give up to go acquire that player over, acquiring that player. And I think these guys have earned it.
I thought that was the most interesting thing of that entire conversation is these guys have earned it, earned the chance to keep their spot to hit against left-handed pitching. Generally, the Tigers have been good against lefties. Now, we saw Bailey falter. We saw a couple others after the All-Star break make some difficulty for this Tigers team as Suarez, who can be a ground ball dispenser, has his second of the day, and there's one down. Where are you on the Tigers against left-handed pitching, just body of work-wise?
Well, I think their record so far, the 20-10 record, all of those, look at OPS, but, they talked about, needing a right-handed bat, but they picked up Glaber, but look, some of the other ones, Torque and Baez, Dingler, did you expect Dingler to do what he's doing? So that's why I think Scott Harris is saying they deserve it.
Yeah.
They've earned it, and they've showed that, wait a minute, who is better at that position than the guys that we already have. And then Andy Ibanez coming up, and being Andy Ibanez and Jahmai Jones has done a good job too.
That was our Call Sam best call, hearing from Scott Harris. Now, looking at this lineup right now, right, 1 through 9, just as it's constituted for today's game against a left-handed starter, you have 7 of the 9 players over 100 in weighted runs created plus, which is a generally accepted way of saying 100 is league average. They make sure that 100 is league average across all eras. As there's a ground ball to first. Riley Green and Matt Vierling right now are the 2 guys below league average. And you're not really at this point going to take Riley out of the lineup. Vierling over his career has hit lefties well.
And he's the one that I've forgotten about that, and shame on me, but it's just that he's getting himself back into it, but he's certainly shown signs that he is back to the Matt Vierling that he was last year or earlier in his career.
2 out for him here, and there is a strike from Suarez to Vierling. Matt made his Major League debut as a Philadelphia Philly back in 2021, right before that magical run they had. Vierling, foul ground, third base side to the dugout, and down the stairs we go. Javi Baez jabbing with Sosa, sparring match.
A little fun, just kind of boom, boom, get out of here.
Our dugout, thanks.
And there's always going to be a left-handed pitcher somewhere. Max Fried just jumps to mind, or a Chris Sale, or, Carlos Rodon, although the Tigers are good against Rodon. But,
Fromber.
Fromber, that can, cause trouble for any lineup.
But, on the other hand, as you get into the playoffs, and you just listed all kinds of playoff lefties, as you get into the playoffs, you're going to face those tougher left-handers.
And, that's where those games are so tight, where it becomes playoff baseball. It's not, like you're facing, the 5th starter, a lefty that's a 5th starter of some organization that's in last place. So they are the top, and everything becomes important. You got to scratch out those runs. You got to do a little bit of everything that the Tigers have done up until this point.
2-2 on Vierling. And that is just high. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Suarez was a couple steps toward Camden, and he's going to have to go back.
Yeah, that sinker that maybe just a little bit high. Realmuto was set up on the inside part of the plate. Suarez does a good job of throwing to his spots, and maybe it just shocked Brian Walsh, the home plate umpire. He didn't hit a spot. A little bit high. Ball 3.
3-2 is lifted foul.
And Suarez, that's to the right-handers too. He's just going to live mainly on that outside part of the plate with that sinker and throw that changeup off of that sinker.
And get a ground ball. Or 3. 6 up, 6 down for Suarez. It's going to be one of those nights.
thetigers.com/Stranger Things to learn more.
You enjoy Stranger Things?
I'm out of breath. That's all I
Somebody did douse you with water halfway through that. It was nice. JT Real Muto, the catcher, stands in. He is, like Dylan Dingler, a very fast catcher. Real Muto's got him beat a little bit sprint speed-wise, but JT Real Muto's got over 100 stolen bases as a catcher, which is rarefied air.
Yeah, I was looking before the game, just seeing who to watch to run, and I was surprised to look down and say, hey, he's got 6 this year.
Yeah, career over 100 for JT Real Muto. He can also throw it. I mean, these are two special catchers, and the backups are pretty good too as the roster stands today. 0-2. Broken bat grounder to third base. Ibanez. One away. Here's a message from Rally House for you.
Play ball, Michigan. Shop the latest in Tiger style with your
Here's old friend Nick Castellanos. Final game with the Tigers back in 2019. Bounced around a little bit and found a home here in Philadelphia as he swats that foul. Strike one. 837 Tigers games where he's talked about growing up in Detroit.
Yeah, I think he's really found a home here. You know, once he came, he was with Cincinnati, then came here, and he just looks like he's embracing being here. And like Jimmy Rollins was talking about, the toughness of the city, the toughness of the fans, and how they get on him and everything. I think he's embraced that. Likes that little edge that the city brings.
Year number 13 in the big leagues for him. Hard to believe. That's one of those where you're like, oh boy, we're all getting old. Nick Castellanos in his 13th year.
Wow, because I remember him and when the Tigers made the playoffs against Baltimore in 2014, but that must have been a couple years into his career, and that did a good job of laying off a couple of sliders. That's where he can expand that strike zone. You get ahead like Jack did, 0-2, and he's just really spit on a couple of sliders.
See where Jack goes on 2-2. It's a wave and a miss. The curveball ends up being the punch-out pitch, 2 down.
Yeah, very good curveball. He was looking at those sliders and was seeing them out of the hand, and that one just enough off speed that it fooled Nick, thinking that, he's going back to that fastball. And because it started up a little bit, he got way out in front and couldn't hold up.
See how consistent the whiff rate's been for Jack Flaherty so far this year, month to month, as he drops in a cold strike on a slider to Brandon Marsh. It's an interesting center field situation they have right now in Philadelphia. Marsh is in center today. Harrison Bader came over yesterday at the deadline as the Minnesota Twins scattered along the countryside like Johnny Appleseed was in charge of them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's left by the time the Twins get to Comerica Park next week.
I mean, it's, the good news is that AAA's in St. Paul, so you just get like a 12-passenger van and send it over to the Saints ballpark. But it is wild what happened in Minnesota, and the Phillies are better for it. 1-2 on Marsh, but there is roster trickle down. I think that's what Scott Harris was kind of referring to. When you bring somebody in, you drop somebody off the roster. Johan Rojas ends up going down to AAA Lehigh Valley as part of that center field platoon. And there's a swing and a miss. Flaherty's curveball is sharp tonight. You have a ground ball pitcher on the mound in Suarez. And the first pitch is in for a strike. We have seen already today 7 ground ball outs combined.
And not a whole lot of hard contact. And that's Suarez, too.
Just his 23rd pitch tonight. Shakes down Dylan Dingler, who, as of today, has the top arm strength in all of Major League Baseball from behind the plate. It's a borderline strike, top of the zone. Rafael Marchand, who is the backup catcher for Philadelphia, is top 3 as well. Real Muto is very quick with his pop time. This is going to be a series where we may not see a whole lot of stolen bases, depending on the pitcher on the mound. Swing and a miss. That changeup just dies on the vine, and the first strikeout for Suarez tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you just talk, and watch throughout the course of the game the sequencing, on how Suarez went about that at-bat. Started with a pitch on the outside part of the plate, showed him a couple on the inside part of the plate, and then right back to the outside. I mean, just really dotting control. Right where Real Muto is setting up, boom, right there.
And that was just his 3rd changeup of the night, so it's not like Tigers hitters are going back to the dugout saying, hey, look out for the changeup.
Throwing a lot of them.
Yeah. Wencel Perez takes a curveball. The Tigers opened August with a 9-game divisional lead. That is the 2nd largest lead in Tigers history in the division as of August 1. That's a called strike. It's a little high, 2-1. 64-46, 9 games ahead of Cleveland, who's playing the Twins tonight, or what's left of the Twins. 1984, you guys were up 12.5. But this Tigers team, as there's a base hit, those still exist. The Tigers and Phillies had no base runners until that moment. Wencel Perez, a 1-out single. Did you guys know, like August 1st, 1984? You can't really know, but did you know?
No, and that's the whole point. You don't sit there and say, oh, yeah, we've got this. You just keep playing and you just keep winning. And that's the thing. And AJ, I know, just listening to him today, we made a lot of nice moves, and all those moves are going to be part of our goal of winning the division.
There's a base hit for Javi, not waiting around. First pitch sinker. He pounces for a 1-out, 2nd straight single.
A couple of ground balls, but perfectly placed. One back up the middle. This one by Javi right there in that 5-hole. Perfectly placed.
Yeah, the slugging on that sinker isn't great for right-handers against Suarez. It's only .451, but righties are hitting .352 batting average-wise against the sinker. So sometimes you can get eyes from the righty batter's box. This one is a chopper to short. Turner for Stott, and safe over at first. I think the Phillies might challenge this puppy. It was very close. Jemai was booking it down the line. Rob Thompson has the hand up.
Yeah, it just wasn't hit that hard. And let's see, just Jemai Jones, wow.
He beat that.
Yeah, he did. Boy, but I'm like you, just live, it looked like maybe he got him, but he just again hits that with his toe right on the front of that bag like he did the other day.
Yep.
It wasn't like half of his foot. It was like his toe was hitting that bag, and that's just the difference between being out and safe and giving Gleyber Torres a chance to knock in the first run.
He takes a first pitch away, ball 1. We went 26 minutes in this game without any hits, and then in 1 minute, we ended up with 2 hits. So what's one more to add to the party? Gleyber? And he just dances on the corners when he's going well, Suarez.
Yeah, and we saw Gleyber, against Fott the other day, just know exactly how he was going to come at him. If he keeps throwing that out over the plate, Gleyber will go with it.
Yeah, he will He'll shoot it to right
That's
field.
That's what I mean. He knows what they're trying to do, and I know to Dylan Dingler, he stood him up, with a cutter, with a four-seamer and a cutter on the inside part of the plate.
That's away again. So this is a curious 3-1 pitch here. He's been dabbling against Torres, but a walk would bring up Ibanez with the bases loaded.
Yeah, you don't have any relief here, so it's not like you just say, well.
He came in and Gleyber doused it high in the air left field. This is long gone. The one time he tries to come inside, Gleyber pulverizes it.
That's the unfortunate thing about getting behind. If you're Ranger Suarez, you get behind, and Gleyber says, I got a pitch to play with. If it's outside, I'll just let it go. And he tried to throw a cutter inside to him. Sets up inside, and he knew he hammered that. And there again, you're facing a really good left-handed pitcher, a couple of base hits, and then one big swing of the bat. And that's that 3-run homer that's tough to come back from.
Think about this. Suarez, in his Phillies career, has thrown in 10 postseason games. He's given up 2 home runs in 10 postseason games. He is a tough guy to get elevation with power against, and Gleyber made it look easy.
Yeah, and, it's not that sinker or that changeup that's out over the plate. Just tried something different. And you talked about what, it's 6 home runs he'd given up? I said 16 extra base hits. He doesn't give up that many. But, boy, that was a big extra base hit home run from Gleyber.
But you said it. I mean, I know you come from the pitcher's side, but you said it. Like, 3-1 count, you get a different result on that kind of cutter. This is elevated foul, first base side, and into that cutout. A nice play by Harper, a converted outfielder. That's the first home run that Suarez has allowed since July 5th.
Out there with them, getting their fist bumps out there. Welcome additions out in that Tigers bullpen.
And you know what we always say? Just follow Tommy Kahnle.
Yes, the best advice you can give anybody is follow Tommy Kahnle.
In everything he does. Across the board. In life, follow Tommy Kahnle. You're bound to have a good time. 1-1 to Max Kepler, old friend from the American League Central. Tommy is the right kind of wild card to have on a team. You talk about keeping guys loose.
Yeah.
You never know. He's a joy.
It's like they never have seen each other before, though. They're reintroducing each other.
It's a high fly ball, right center field for Kepler, and playable for Vierling, who they used to love around here. One away.
Well, I wasn't so sure off the bat that when that got up in the air, and I said, that's trouble. And then it just kind of sat down, and Matt Vierling again, just a little bit easier play than he had that other day that rolled off the brim of his hat. Jack Flaherty the same way. I wasn't so sure about that one.
Jack gave him the Bill Murray phase.
Yeah.
Don't think the heavy stuff's going to strike one to Sosa. If you ask Vierling after the game, I don't know that he thought that was going to be playable. The way he was running to the spot, I don't know.
And, you could see him just gingerly feeling that track underneath his feet, too. And I'm sure he gave Wenzel credit the other day, and I'm sure Wenzel was screaming at him again, wall, wall, wall.
1-1 for Sosa. Is in a breaking ball from Jack. Here it is.
Yeah, just watch when he gets to that. Okay, a couple steps up. Okay, I know I'm okay now. But just not quite sure. He's getting ready to brace himself with that left shoulder just in case he's a little close to that fence.
That is home run robbery central, by the way, out there. That is a short fence.
Yeah.
Isn't that's the fence where Aaron Rowan ran into it face first back in the day, and they loved him forever here in Philly. Yeah, 396 foot out. That's all it is. You can trust the dimensions here now. After the original dimensions were wrong out in left field, they had to move the number. And time called. The 374 out in left center field. 334 was always right. Here are the park factors. Fourth best for home runs. Seventh for runs. They had the 374 in the wrong spot originally, so they had to move it. And now you see out there in left center, the 374 is like right next to the 387. But, originally the 374 was further left.
Yeah.
But they had to go and get it right. So they got the tape measures out, right? And now everything's proper. That is strike three called. A fastball planted on the outside corner for Sosa. And Flaherty's carving right now.
He is, and just putting it right on the edges. And right where Dylan Dingler is. Look at that. Dylan Dingler didn't move his glove. He didn't even have to present it to Brian Walsh. I mean, that is just throwing it right. Look, he doesn't move. He gives him that target and then just kind of relaxes and then opens the glove up and didn't move his wrist whatsoever. And another one. Oof.
Jack's all over the zone. There's ball one to Bryson Stott.
Well, that's got to be fun for any catcher, just putting that glove down and then doesn't have to move it.
And then when you have to, you get the grace of the plate umpire, Brian Walsh.
And pull it right back in and help your pitcher out.
One. That was a ball on a hand, 2 balls and a strike. Philadelphia opens play a half game back of the Mets for first place in the NL East. The Mets are facing Robbie Ray in San Francisco tonight. Something of a depleted Giants team with Camilo Doval getting traded to New York. Mike Yastrzemski joining up with the Royals in the AL Central. That won't be an annoyance at all.
But he's been a big part of the Giants for a long time.
Mike?
Yeah.
A great story. I mean, he soldiered through a long minor league existence before making it to the big leagues. 2-2. Twisted foul. Matt Vierling had nothing but great things to say about Rob Thompson in that Philadelphia dugout. I mean, he said sneaky funny, really smart guy. When he took over for Joe Girardi in 2022, this Philadelphia team, whether cause and effect or otherwise, they took off. 2-2, drops low, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And I just like that story. He was talking about how he made him relax, because he was just a young player and he wasn't sure if he might have made a mistake, and he just had a really good way of just getting him to relax.
Yeah, Matt went all the way down the bench, evidently, because he didn't think he was going to pinch hit.
Yeah, just, okay, I've loosened up. I'm good. I'm just going to go back down. And then all of a sudden, the on-deck hitter came off from on deck, came back into the dugout, and everybody's looking, well, who's going to hit for him?
And Matt goes, well, this is weird.
I guess it's me.
Yeah.
And they're pointing to him, and then he made an easy out and was thought, oh, boy, they're going to get on me.
Now, here's where Jack Flaherty needs a quick out of Trey Turner. It's the first base runner against him. And how, as a pitcher, Dan, it's an emotional game. How do you put it out of your mind right now?
That
the walk.
You know what?
You just
and you have to just, you're mad at yourself for doing that, and probably just being ahead too, and then the way it happened. But you're one pitch away.
One pitch. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Baez to Torres. Inning over. Jack reenact.
Getting a lot of curly fries in the last 4 games, right?
Yeah, that Diamondback series was a breakout for the offense. I'm sure that guy's happy. Embedded in the Phillies fans section as Spencer Torkelson leads off. Jimmy Rollins, maybe the most interesting part of his speech as he got inducted into the Wall of Fame here, famed shortstop for the Phillies. He spoke directly to the fans, and he said, thanks for making life difficult on the Tampa Bay Rays family section in 2008. Like, if there's a way that you talk about playing to your audience, it got a huge laugh from the crowd. Oh, 0-2 to Torque. It's inside on a fastball. 1-2.
That's kind of one of those ones where I'm not going to make another mistake. I'm going to make sure if I'm going to get that in, I'm going to make sure I get it well in off the plate. I'm not going to make that same mistake that I did to Glaber.
Really inside.
Yep. That's 2 in a row. This is kind of the same way he went after Dylan Dingler and then threw that changeup right off the outside part of the plate.
2-2. It's a curveball this time. It's strike three nonetheless, and there's one away, but same pattern. All right, Chevrolet's strongest player is Riley Green, facing Suarez for the second time here today. Only players with 25 homers and 80 knocked in this year. This is it. All of them. Right there. Two of them play for the Mariners. Riley Green, Aaron Judge, Schwarber, and Seiya Suzuki.
You know, and we get to see Riley every day. And then sometimes, I mean, I have to just keep double checking and just remind me, he's got, 84 RBIs?
26 home runs.
Yeah. You know, what are those finished numbers going to look like? You know, that's what, we got 2 months of the season left.
To that point of the calendar, Riley twists this to second, and there are two away. Riley Green is the first Tigers lefty with 26 homers at the end of July. First Tigers lefty with that number since Norm Cash in 1962.
Yeah.
I know the strikeout number draws attention, but man, Riley Green is hammering the baseball when he makes contact, and this team is not what it is offensively without that presence in the lineup.
You know, and you think about since 62, there was a lot of games played at Tiger Stadium with that short little overhang, and you know, that just tells you that's a big number.
Base hit to right. Vierling's got himself a single in his return to Philly. So here is Dingler, who struck out on 4 back in the third. Later on in the game, you want to play who's playing for the Twins tonight? They're in next.
Yeah.
Just get your bearings on this. Maybe we'll play in the bottom of the fourth inning, but we should play a game of who's playing for the Twins tonight.
I mean, it'll be something to kind of watch those scores and just watch what happens to that team. You know, you don't want to lose. You still have a lot to play for, but man, that's got to suck the air right out of you to see that amount of players, you know, leave your team.
I didn't know you were going to say the air right out of you, because the sentence would have stood that way too.
I just think about the excitement, you know, two different scenarios. I mean, the excitement that the Tigers, you know, have to be going through. You know, you get Chris Paddock comes in, he does a marvelous job, and then, man, you get all this influx of new people coming in.
Yeah, there is real energy.
Yes.
Whether it should be this day or not, last day of July, right? You do have this artificial deadline of how your vibes are. This to short. It's Trey Turner's position to throw out Vierling at second base. Bottom 4, Tigers up 3.
was back foot to strike him out.
Good mix overall for Jack. 20 fastballs, 13 curveballs, 11 sliders out of his 44 pitches so far, and make that 12 sliders for Jack Flaherty. Schwarber must be like, wait.
I'm confused.
Wait.
I'm confused here.
When I faced him before, Cardinals, Cubs, etc., he's thrown him so many fastballs. This is Breaking Ball City, population 1.
And they're right on that outside part of the plate, just what we just showed the first at bat.
0-2. Another breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You see Jack?
Yeah. Just didn't like his release point, but, just it's a lot better down there than it is that little hanger.
Yeah, right there. Oh, he fixed it. That's the 10th swing and miss for the Phillies on his 5th strikeout already.
Yeah, it's just you look at Kyle Schwarber's numbers and he's hitting like $150 on breaking balls, and then you look at the way Jack Flaherty has gone after him with all the fastballs, like you said. And so this time he's just saying, you know what, we'll trust that scouting report that he's not hitting breaking balls and just stay with it. And so far, it's held true in these first 2 at-bats with 2 strikeouts against Schwarber.
And you look at Schwarber over the course of his career, he saw a lot more fastballs earlier in his career. When he was with the Cubs, he was up around 60% in a couple of seasons. That's dipped about 10% to now. And Jack's certainly not helping that number, as Harper, the former home run derby champ, a 2-time MVP, is ahead 2-0. He looks like the most fearsome sea creature you could ever dream up in that jersey and gloves. Aquaman with bad intentions.
But doesn't he just look like a baseball player, though? With those, the eye black, that little beard going, that stare, like staring right through you.
I mean, that's going to be a strike. He doesn't love that. Bryce Harper, in his first 2 months as a Washington National, ran into a wall at Dodger Stadium. That was how he always played. We talk about Zach McKinstry and getting dirty and everything that comes along with that, and how he's dedicated himself to being that type of player. Bryce Harper is that in spades. He takes ball 4. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was a teenager out in Nevada.
Yeah.
It's all followed him year after year, and all he keeps doing, Dan, is live up to the contract and live up to the numbers and the hype and the expectations. What he's done for a decade and a half to fend off hate by bringing numbers at all turns is pretty darn impressive.
I just think he represents the game of baseball really well too. If you're got some young kids that are watching a game and everything, I think that you point right out there and say, you know what, pattern yourself after that guy.
That's easy to do. I mean, he is intense.
Yep. But the way he carries himself and
great teammate. He's at first. 10 for 10 in stolen bases this year. That breaking ball hooks right in. A ball and 2 strikes on Real Muto.
Yeah, I think that buckled the knees of Real Muto. Expecting that to break out over the plate a little bit more, and that started right at him, and it just kind of froze him. He couldn't pull that trigger.
1-2. Fly ball right field, sending Perez back. He is camped, and he makes the catch. Here's a message from Figer Law.
If you've been injured in an auto accident, make Figer Law your first call.
Beautiful Citizens Bank Park. It's been around for more than 20 years now since they replaced the very quaint Veterans Stadium with its cushy AstroTurf. Ball 1 to Castellanos. We were talking about Aaron Rowan running into the wall here out in center field. Looked at my phone during the break. I have a text from our pal Bobby Scales, part of our broadcast team, radio, TV, fantastic guy. Bobby's a great storyteller, and the story he has to tell about that Aaron Rowan catch, he was in Scranton playing for the Phillies AAA team when Aaron Rowan smashed his face against the wall. They took Bobby out of the game as a possible hold to get called up.
Yeah.
They told him it might be me. Then they took another guy. I mean, not only do you not get to play the rest of the game, but it's not you going up. Sorry, Bob.
No.
We would never do that
I was
to
going
you.
to say sorry, Bob. I don't mean to laugh.
No, but it's fine.
Yeah.
3-1, a close pitch. Now Jack's got to battle back against Castellanos here. What a fastball on 3-1.
Yeah, and he challenged him too. You know, knowing that he's still up by 3, doesn't have to go to that breaking ball. But if you're going to throw a fastball, you want to position it right where he threw it, and you'll just take your cap off to Castellanos if he can do something to it. But just fouled it back. Boy, now you could stay out there again, or even throw a breaking ball 3-2.
And he did. Good call, Dan. Jack Flaherty is sizzling here in Philly. A one-out single, Baez single, Gleyber Torres a 3-run homer, and here you are with a 3-0 Tigers lead in Philadelphia against a Phillies team that did just lose 2 of 3 at the White Sox, in part because of something of a leaky bullpen that they tried to fortify at the deadline by getting Joan Duran from Minnesota. 1-2 on one cell. You never know right at the deadline if the moves you made are going to be the thing to put you over the top. But the Tigers and what they went and did, it's not the big name like Duran that we know from the American League Central. The one thing we did learn last year that's hard evidence of is that the Tigers are better when they have a cavalcade of options to use on a pitching staff. The numbers were dwindling, and Scott Harris and A.J. Hinch both alluded to volume of pitchers as being something of a strength for this team down the stretch, with an addition like Finnegan, like Montero, like Charlie Morton, to push Troy Melton to the bullpen, as we saw Jackson Jobe throw out of the bullpen last year. Suarez snares this. One away. Where are you, Dan, on this as a collective at the deadline?
Well, I just think that all these arms, and the greatest thing about it is when you hear A.J. Hinch talk about meeting these guys, never meeting them before, talking to them and kind of explaining their role, and you get a guy like Kyle Finnegan, an all-star, a closer in Washington, like, hey, I don't know what your role is going to be. I might use you in the 5th. I might use you in the 9th. I don't know. And he goes, I don't care. I just want to go out there and I want to help a team that's in first place. I want to help them win, but I also want to help them win a World Series. And that's where I just think that all these new additions help them out. And it gives so many different options where you can say, yeah, I'm getting a closer, but I might pitch him in the 5th inning. And the opponent, again, that unpredictability. You don't know who's going to come in.
Foul ball from Baez, 1 and 2.
It's going to go by situation. So Rob Thompson is going to sit there. Well, you know what? I think in this situation, I'm going to see Tyler Holton. And no, you're not. You're going to see Brant Herter. And then, well, I think I'm going to, see Montero right here. Well, no, you're not. You're going to see Melton. I mean, it's just the unpredictability is going to make it very difficult.
Martian center makes a catch, 2 away. And that's the plan. By the way, that is the best handwriting you'll ever see short of Jerry Naron.
That is nice.
On a lineup card.
That is nice. And, some of the ones like Paul Sewald, and that's a guy, I mean, he's nasty, and just, man, the sooner he can get and be a part of this bullpen, the better. And we were talking about Cody Hoyer, too. I mean,
yeah,
that was sneaky. That one just, you don't know where he is right now, but I was talking to you. He threw 100, right? I mean, his
COVID season 2020 was his debut season, as Jahmai Jones, by the way, had seen 2 pitches and 2 at-bats. So this doubles his input so far tonight. Cody Hoyer had a 1.50 ERA before he had arm trouble back in 2020. And the stuff, if it can get back there, and the Tigers have developed pitchers pretty well, I saw it firsthand, so I'm like magnetized toward it. Like, I know what it looked like when he was really good. He's in AAA now. We'll see.
And how much fun is it for Juan Nieves, Robin Lund, Chris Fetter, Doug Bachler, all these guys, and what they have to work with is Jahmai Jones just takes that fastball right on the outside corner, painted to end the 5th.
do the same on Sunday. It's interesting, A.J. Hinch talks about new guys joining the team, and for him it's about learning these players, right? The one thing he won't have to do much of is learn Charlie Morton. They're very familiar with each other from their days in Houston, and he did say about Charlie, though, he might take a little heat from this team being the oldest guy in the room.
Yeah, it's like Dan Petrie and our broadcast crew.
Oh, no, Jason, I was going to do it, but I let you do it.
I mean, I just take the cues from the reporter, Dan.
And I'm proud of that fact.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I said it with no jest intended.
I know. I was like, yes. Yeah, just like Charlie Morton will enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. Absolutely.
The second part
Means you're
to
wiser.
that is that Dan's our favorite part of the broadcast, right? So there's that part, too.
We voted?
I don't know about that.
I'm voting right now.
Oh, thank you for that. Chris Paddock was great in his Tigers debut. He throws strikes. We know that. Charlie Morton, the second oldest active player. Ground ball to first. That's Torkelson sweeping it up. Jack covers. And there are two away, just like that. And the Philly fans are getting slightly restless.
And that's a good thing.
Look, it's funny. Scott Harris said last night in that Zoom, we've seen pieces of it. Somebody asked him about playoff experience and how much it matters. And he said, I told you last year that it doesn't matter because we don't have any of it. But now that these guys have gone through it, you get the sense that there's a lot of knowledge to impart, but also somebody like Tarek Skubal knowing what it takes to pitch in the postseason, right? All the young position players. Jack Flaherty was just there with the Dodgers. It feels like the way to build something is to have some of that carryover to be a dynasty in a division.
And how awful that feeling was that you experienced in Cleveland.
Fly ball for Sosa into left. Green is back. He's at the wall, and that's ringing back in off the wall. That is in play. It's waved as a double. It was very close to a home run. Instead, it's the first hit for Philadelphia, a Sosa double. Now, this is reviewable.
Yeah, just a slider, just not a bad pitch. Maybe just got a little bit too much of the plate. Riley's getting ready to jump. It looks like it hit right off that orange area up there.
And that is the line you have to cross. So if it hits that orange line, there is no yellow line below that. You have to get it over the orange line.
Yes, the way it caromed in, that's what I was worried about, was that it hit a railing up top there. And then I went, uh-oh, that's going to be trouble.
There's Bryson Stott. And there's a winding breaking ball, strike one. That's exactly what I was wondering, too. Did it hit that railing? Because the railing's a home run. Oh, 1 is a little bit away. 1 ball, 1 strike to Stott, who walked in a grinder of a plate appearance back in the third. It was an 8-pitch walk to Stott his first time. A little bit low, 2 balls and a strike. When Jack has missed tonight, though, he's missed below the zone, out of the zone.
Yeah, and it's out of the zone, like you said, down or off of a corner. And again, that pitch wasn't that bad to Sosa. Maybe it was over the plate a little bit, but it was down, just got underneath it far enough to carry him off the wall.
3-1 to Stott.
There you're just saying to Dylan, you can see him just kind of trying to rein Jack back in. You give up that first hit and it kind of just, man, a little bit upset. Now it's just kind of coming back in here. Be careful.
Against a fastball hitter, he misses low with a heater. Now it's 2 on, 2 out, and Trey Turner, who bounced out on the first pitch he saw back in the third, is in the biggest at bat for the Phillies so far tonight. He threw Turner a first pitch curveball.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking right after that walk that he might throw a breaking pitch right here for strike one.
He went fastball away. Turner thought about firing on it.
Yeah.
Sky high on 1-0. Baez says it's his. He is right, and the inning is over.
Well, he challenged him, and that was middle, and the big swing of the day, and Jack Flaherty has just taken that and just cruised with it.
And Gleyber Torres, on his now 12 home runs, 11 have come on fastballs this year. And there, it's an advantage count, and he does exactly what you'd want. 404 feet out of here easily.
You know what? And I didn't know this, but I spent yesterday listening to you and Dan Dickerson on the Have a Seat podcast with Gleyber Torres. Very, very interesting interview that you guys had with him.
Tell you what, there's a lot there that people don't know about Gleyber Torres and his adventure to Major League Baseball.
And that's exactly why I said I found that interesting. Starting off at 13 years old and having to leave his family to go to the academy. And, I mean, it was just fascinating.
Sitting at the table at home, listening to mom and dad talk about what Gleyber's decision was going to be, that they were going to make for him, basically. He wanted to play baseball, but it was either the academy or school. It wasn't going to be both, as Sosa handles that from Ibanez. And, you know, if his parents don't make that decision, we don't know Gleyber Torres as we're knowing him right now, but that's life-changing. It's totally uprooting everything about what your existence is to go chase a dream that you don't know if it's going to happen.
You'd sign him when you're 16.
Yeah.
You know, not speaking a word of English. And I remember you guys asking the question when he hit that home run. It just reminded me of it. Just, you know, what kind of hitter were you when you were little? And he said, ever since I was like 3 years old, that's all I did was just swing as hard as I could. I never tried to hit a single. Swing as hard as I could, try to hit a home run. And he did.
What's amazing about it is he was never this like really patient hitter.
Yeah.
The walk to strikeout thing just isn't how he played in a Yankee uniform or before that. Even you look at his home runs this year, right? We talk about advantage counts. Coming into tonight, he had 5 home runs. 5 of his 11 before tonight were on the first pitch of an at-bat.
And I'm just thinking about where he's hit them, though, too. Showing off that power to right center at Comerica Park, that's not an easy place for right-handed hitters to hit a home run. And then where he hit the one tonight, way back in left field, halfway up those seats out there.
That's a long way out there. Gleyber Torres, huge addition for the Tigers, and part of the reason why Scott Harris talked about, he doesn't know that you need a right-handed bat for this lineup the way it's currently constituted. Drink it up, Gleyber.
I did really enjoy because you got me hooked on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And he enjoys peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. When he was in the minor leagues and he got to the big leagues, he said, what? Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? I got to have a peanut butter and jelly. That's all I had in the minor leagues.
Swing and a miss. Yeah, he said to A.J. Hinch, he's like, what is this? Peanut butter and jelly on the plane? 3-0 Tigers. Schwarber again sees a slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kyle Schwarber had seen 60% fastball against Jack Flaherty for his career coming into tonight. And it is just spinner after spinner after spinner. Schwarber has swung 5 times. He's missed every one of them.
And that slider, about the last maybe 3 games, has really been the difference for Jack Flaherty.
And then a fastball is just kind of sneaky, thief in the night, sort of.
Yeah, it's got that little bit of extra giddy up to it. It's 92 on the outside part of the plate, but you've seen a steady diet of breaking balls. That just sneaks up on you.
Yeah, he's become Wolfman Jack tonight. He's just spinning the hits, spinning the platters here in Philly. Here's a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Check out these great vehicles today. Only at
Daniela Bruce is downstairs, learning a lot about the aviation industry today. Dan Petrie, Jason Benetti, our entire crew. Bryce Harper fouls away a first pitch, 0-1.
Daniela, though, handled pregame just fine. Came in there not flustered at all, just raring and ready to go, and just teed me up talking about pitching. So I know she had a rough day, but Daniela, you were good on pregame.
Total champ.
Yep.
She knows everything about how to get from Newark to Philly in one piece.
This is why I said Dan was my favorite. I just gotta let you all know.
He's involved here.
Didn't she?
No, I know. I was just saying that he helped me get through pregame, and he was a good teammate today. Great teammate today.
But no, I thought you said it was like I felt like Jason Benetti in that car service.
I did.
Okay.
The first time I've ever had a car service, and my first thought was, wow, Jason lives nice. This is great.
Oh, look at that shrapnel coming from the sky. Thanks, guys. What, do you want me to take a scooter? 3-1 for Harper. That is a strike called, and Bryce calls for time.
How to get back into a count right here, 3-1, and just that slider right on the outside part of the plate. Not giving in, doesn't want to walk him, but just makes the perfect pitch.
3-2. Flaherty to Harper. Struck him out. What a tight slider.
You know what, too? You're right on, Jason. I mean, look at how late that thing breaks to Bryce Harper. But again, falling behind 3-1 to a really dangerous, a really good hitter. And how do you get back in that count? You throw that backdoor slider. You don't give in and throw it right down the middle, and you hit that perfect spot. And then look at the late break on this. Man, comes out looking like a fastball right down the middle.
This ball pumped to right center. Vierling is on it, and that is that. Back with more in the 7th inning after this with Daniela and Dan, who will walk. surprisingly agile, despite that's what people considered him during his time. Here's a quote from the New York Times from Mr. Fothergill. This is a great baseball quote. Detroit pays me to hit. I can't hit if I ain't got the power, and I ain't got the power if I don't eat. Awesome. And then, when I diet, I don't hit. So what in blazes am I gonna do? Get after it, Bob. That is awesome. Riley Green in the batter's box. You know how many people at home are like, you know what? I'm gonna do that too. Forget about this kale that I'm eating for dinner. I love that.
I gotta do my job. I gotta eat.
I gotta eat. Can't hit if I don't eat. It's great. Ball and 2 strikes on Green. What a pitcher's duel we've got on our hands, by the way. The Tigers and the Phillies 3-0. One swing from Gleyber Torres, but these starters, Burr and Hamilton, here tonight. 2-2. On the ground, up the middle. Turner is smooth behind the bag for out number 1. One down for Vierling, who is 1 for 2. Yeah, there's a strike. Downstairs, Daniela.
We talked about, well, you guys did, the impact that Bryce Harper has had on the game. And Bryce Harper has actually had a small impact on the Tigers, he and Kyle Schwarber, and that shows through Matt Vierling. If you remember last year during the Tigers' improbable run, when you wanted to talk to the veteran in the room, everybody turned to Matt Vierling because he was at that moment with the experience that he had here in Philly. And he gives a lot of the credit to Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper for everything that he learned and how to operate in situations like they were last year, the high-pressure games, the playoff run. Matt Vierling really turned to them while he was here, and he takes that into his career now.
You know, Dan, once you've been through it, you feel different as a player, don't you?
You know what, and I can see both of them rubbing off on Matt Vierling, and exactly like Daniela said, what Matt Vierling brought into the guys last year. The guys that didn't have any of the playoff experience that Scott Harris was talking about that they do now, and kind of what to expect and what he saw, and just, hey, it's going to be 50,000. It's a little bit different.
Well, that rampage home on the sac fly, right? And then the roar.
Yep.
There's some Bryce Harper in there.
Yeah.
And there's some Matt Vierling in there too, right? It's not just the influence of those guys, but you can see it. 1-1 for Dingler from Suarez, and that's upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. This is one of those nights, Dan, where the Tigers' remade bullpen is going to be on display in a big spot.
Yep, that's exactly it. You can see, I believe it's Tyler Holton who started to throw.
Fly ball right field. Castellanos back at the track. He makes the catch. And a 1-2-3 inning for Suarez, who's retired 10 straight. Tiger line.
It's a good amount of four-seam fastballs, then just about 8%, 7% less on the slider, 10% less on the curveball. So it's not like you can zero in on anything really and say, man, I have a pretty good feeling about what's going to come, because you really don't.
He's thrown a couple of exceptional fastballs to Castellanos tonight.
And this is kind of one of those ones where it just looks like, hey, I'm going to be emptying the tank right here, much like Tarek Skubal does. It's just look at the arm action still on that. 94-mile-an-hour fastball, but the arm action on that curveball, it's just whipping it through nice and easy little motion, and then that really quick arm to sell that slow knuckle curveball.
Ahead 0-2. That's called foul. Could this be his last batter?
That's, you're looking at Tyler Holton throwing a couple of lefties coming up here, and 95 miles an hour on that last fastball.
Oh, and 2 again. Allen banks inside, a ball and 2 strikes. You have 2 lefties in Marsh and Kepler to follow. You have a bench that's full of right-handers, including Harrison Bader. And the Philly fanatic evidently might grab a bat in front of Marsh there. Fanatic did the reenactment of the Coldplay concert about a week and a half ago to much viral success. 2-2 from Flaherty. Line drive left field. That's a base hit. 2 hits tonight for Philadelphia. And here comes A.J. Hinch. We will see how Rob Thompson decides to play it. Flaherty will leave 1 runner on for Tyler Holton. Tigers trying to hang on to the lead. The remade bullpen with a 3-run advantage here in the 7th.
And just saying, Tyler Holton is really good at getting right-handers out also. Can go that outside part of the plate with that change-up sinker-cutter combination.
First one is in there. Strike 1 from Tyler Holton. Castellanos over at first. That is in the dirt, a ball and a strike for Kemp. Tyler looking for a ground ball here. How about a swing and a miss on a cutter? And boy, the placement of that cutter, Dan, has been much improved.
Yeah, I mean, everything. I mean, watch where this pitch ends up. Right on the inside part of the plate. Swings right over the top of it. That's not, considering everything that he throws on the outside part of the plate.
There's a one-hopper knocked down by Dingler, 2-2.
That's just what makes Tyler Holton, just living on the edges like that, but just getting those right-handed hitters leaning out over the plate with that sinker on the outside part of the plate, that changeup, and then he backdoors that cutter, but he can keep them honest with either the sweeper or the cutter on the inside part of the plate.
2-2. Little chip shot into right field. That's down for a base hit in the middle of a fairway. Otto Kemp singles Castellanos to third, and the Phillies are in business in the seventh. And it will be the newcomer, Harrison Bader.
Yeah, you see that cutter gets in on the hands of Otto Kemp, and he just muscles it somehow into right field, right off the label, right off of his hands. Perfectly placed, barely onto the outfield grass. Chris Better just going to go out and remind him about Harrison Bader. Just, hey, you saw plenty of him over there in that Twins uniform. This is the way we're going to go after him.
So Harrison Bader needs to know that this Philadelphia fan base will absolutely get behind you and stick with you. We saw the Alec Bohm situation a couple years ago when he was really frustrated, kind of lashed out after a game, apologized, became a fan favorite. Trey Turner 2 years ago, really struggling.
Yep.
They give him the big standing ovation, stick with him. He ends up getting 12 billboards around the city to thank Philly fans. And now Harrison Bader in his first tour, did you see his eyes there? He was just looking around to take it in as he walks into the box for a huge opportunity.
I mean, you could hear the crowd too. They're all on their feet, just excited about the situation, but also just kind of welcoming him for his first at bat.
Change up low, and the crowd swells. That's down at 2 balls, no strikes. Very quickly, Will Vest is tuning up in the Tigers bullpen. Too far in, 3 balls, no strikes. And now the real wall of sound.
Just being very, very careful to Harrison Bader those first 2 pitches, and even there, 2-0.
Ball 4, they are loaded. So here is Sosa, 29-year-old, who has been such a super utility player for the Phillies since coming over from St. Louis in 22.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of Tyler Holton. Let's see how aggressive Sosa gets here.
Oh, very aggressive.
Yeah. We just figured that after four straight balls with the control that Tyler Holton has, Sosa thinks, he's going to give me something to hit. And he got a cutter that was just off the plate enough, but a good swing by Sosa. who had doubled his last time for the first hit off of Jack Flaherty.
That was on a slider. This 0-1 is a wave and a miss. A changeup that just fell below the zone, 0-2.
Just there again, just going back to that outside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters. Backdoor cutter, then a good changeup right off of it.
2 strikes from Holton. Right at third base. Ibanez captures out number 1. That was stung. And now, Bryson Stott coming up.
Well, it goes back to that changeup and then just had it placed perfectly right there. Line drive right at. Yeah, Jack Flaherty knows the situation.
Stott has been much better against righties than lefties. Bases loaded, 1 gone. First one, middle, strike 1. This could be Holton's final batter. Trey Turner is next.
You see that initial step from Stott, kind of just stepping not right back to Tyler Holton, a little bit toward first base. See if they tear up that outside part of the plate with that sweeper. Yep. Gonna try to hit that outside corner.
One and one. Just low, 2-1. Stott for his career has been better against lefties than he has this year. Just 1 extra base hit against lefties all year. Locked in.
Be kind of careful on that inside part of the plate. Just seems like he's cheating, trying to open up for something inside.
It's a fly ball, center field. Vierling is underneath. He makes the catch. Throw goes to third. Castellanos scores. Those 2 trailer runners are more important in a 3-0 game, and Vierling decides discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep that ball not hit extremely deep, but no sense in trying to airmail something home. Just keep everything right there in front of you. Base hit doesn't automatically score that runner from second base.
Trey Turner hits the...
Situations where Trey Turner has been to the plate with a couple of runners on.
Strike.
This is right where, it's just how they're going to use the bullpen, and this is where A.J. Hinch says, you know what, this is my guy. It's a tough situation right here with those runners on. I'm going to my guy that's been so good all year long.
Right side, it's a base hit. Perez up with it. He throws toward third. It is 3-2.
Yeah, it's that four-seam fastball out over the plate. Trey Turner does not try to pull it. Man, just look at that bat control, shooting it right to where the second baseman normally plays when they're not shifted. Tried to sinker on the first pitch, kind of came in, just missed it, and then that four-seamer out over the plate. Good piece of hitting by Trey Turner.
Now Schwarber takes the ball in the dirt. That's a really tough call by Wencel Perez out there in right field, but it looked like he might have a shot at Otto Kemp there.
I was looking at Wencel, and I think he was doing the same thing. He was just going right towards third base just to keep the runner right where he was, Harrison Bader.
Schwarber was 0 for 3 against Flaherty. Line drive right field. That's a base hit. Perez stumbles with it and throws it in, but the Phillies have tied the game. Kyle Schwarber makes it 3-all.
Boy, you got a steady diet of sliders from Jack Flaherty, but that's not the same slider. That one just stays up, belt high to Kyle Schwarber. The ones he was seeing were out over the plate. They were down. That one just kind of spun right in the middle of the plate. But, man, this Philly offense has just reacted to this crowd. You can just see it and feel it.
Now Bryce Harper. First pitch is there, strike one. Oh, and 2. Harper hasn't liked the zone all night from Brian Walsh.
Wow, that one, not sure I don't think I agree with Bryce Harper on that one.
0-2. Check swing, did he?
Oh, boy. No. Yeah.
Oh,
boy. Just after that second strike, that could have very easily.
Yeah, that should have been strike 3. The second one notwithstanding. That should have been strike 3 on a swing.
Yeah, and that's where Will Vest has really come a long way with that back foot slider to the lefties. Got ahead with a couple fastballs and then went to the slider.
2-2. Runner goes. Schwarber takes second base.
Boy, Will Vest just throwing that changeup, and Bryce Harper wasn't fooled one bit.
Cubs reunion at second. 3-2 from Vest. Harper checks his swing. He did go, strike 3. Harper can't believe it. He's walking toward third base, gesturing at Carapazza, and he's going to be out of this ball game. Bryce Harper cannot believe it. He should have punched out earlier, in fact. Rob Thompson is out of the dugout. This game is still tied. We've seen Bryce Harper do that before on Sunday Night Baseball. This check swing sends him out of the box. And the inning is over. It is very close.
Tigers, and what a response right back to put the Tigers up on top.
That is Wencel Perez's first home run since the 4th of July, somehow.
And just the third home run that Kirkering has given up on that sweeper, just the second to a left-handed hitter.
Huge chance for the Phillies in the bottom of the 7th, and suddenly the Tigers have the lead again. Turner on to first. Baez is out. Back to the home run. 2 pitches deep.
Yeah, just look at that sweeper just kind of spinning. It's down, but it's just right down the middle of the plate, and Wencel gets underneath it, lofts it into right field, and just like the momentum was sucked out of the Tigers dugout, it just, the crowd just all of a sudden just, boom, just sat right back down, and that took all the wind away from the crowd. Just add on a little bit more as Kerry Carpenter steps in for Jahmai Jones.
Yeah, now the Tigers will empty the bench as much as feasible against the right-hander Kirkering. First one is a strike. Kerry, since his return, is 5 for 11 with 4 extra base hits. This is a bat that has transformed this lineup again, a couple days deep. Didn't go there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And this is where Kerry just loves, obviously, to be in that starting lineup, but knows that, you know what, yep, I'm not starting, but you know what, I'm still going to have a big effect late in the game, and here he stands in ready for it.
Fly ball left field. Otto Kemp. That's called a fair ball. And there are 2 away. Now a message from Meyer. .24-year-old Kirkering, who's had great stuff. 97 average on the fastball. Doesn't give up a whole lot of hard hit baseballs. Does have a strike for Torres. That was not Orion's belt that the Phillies were looking for. They're in the 8th. But that's how volcanic the stuff can be.
No, I just remember when he first came up here during that World Series, just, you know, being known for that sweeper, throwing a lot of sweepers, and he went to it. And I just think, yeah, Wencel cheats to that. They know, yeah, you're going to see it. Like he was looking for it.
Yep, and off it went.
Yeah.
One and 2. Down the right field side. That is a long run and a beautiful one by Castellanos, tracking it down.
Boy, that looked like it had extra bases right from the get-go, slicing off.
Kemp. With Bryce Harper out of the ball game via the ejection, there's only one player remaining on the bench for Rob Thompson, and it's the backup catcher, Rafael Marchand.
Yeah, just so key to get this first out of this inning. That's exactly why Hanafy's in here. Good pocket of right-handed hitters. Right-handers hitting just 205 off of Hanafy.
And no left-handed cavalry.
Exactly, yep. And over his last 9 appearances has not allowed an earned run. It's in one of those stretches where just he's got that really good sinker busting down and in, down away from those right-handed hitters.
And you look at the numbers. Righties 499 OPS, lefties 1094. This is the perfect pocket for Brendan Hanafy if you could draw one up.
It is, and that left-handed average continues to fall.
Yep.
He just keeps working at it. Just give him just enough rope and enough of them just to continue working on it.
Swing and a miss, but you see the ugly swings you can get from right-handers against Hanafy. There's one away.
But there he goes to that four-seam fastball with just sprinkling in enough of them. And see how it just kind of takes off, and it's a different look. Because that sinker, they're just saying, okay, it's going to come down, and it just stays right up in the face of the hitter, just right in front of them, saying, hit me, hit me, hit me. They swing at it, and just underneath it.
There's Castellanos, back to the sinker.
That's that thing, just mixing in enough four-seamers. Just something new.
Oh, 1. Check swing and a foul that somehow finds its way back to Dingler.
Man, the movement on that sinker, the run and the sink is incredible. And just how quiet, that Wenzel's home run and just getting the first out. But look at the run. Look at that run in. And then, boink, right back to Dylan.
That starts middle away.
Man.
Oh, 2. One was always a ball, 1 and 2.
Yeah, just tries to start that one off and then just catch that outside part of the plate.
One, 2 coming. Down low on a slider. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Castellanos.
Good idea. Just wanted to try to see if he'd give up on it, thinking that, okay, that's that fastball. But it just broke down. See if he stays with that sinker.
Little bit low. That's a good take by Castellanos. 3 and 2.
Well, I think just stay with that sinker out over the plate.
Payoff coming. On the ground to third and foul. Tigers had the lead on a Gleyber Torres 3-run homer in the 3rd. The Phillies countered with 3 in the 7th. Tigers got the lead back thanks to that guy, Wenzel Perez. 3 and 2. Into left center, that's a knock. It's only a single. 1-out base hit for Castellanos, who scored the first Philly run tonight.
Yeah, that sinker just on the inside part of the plate. You see Castellanos pull his hands in and just get that barrel of the bat to it.
Here is Otto Kemp, who came into the year a top 25 prospect for Philadelphia. A rookie here in the majors, waves and misses at a slider. Line drive left field and fair. Into the corner it goes. Riley trying to dig it out. Here comes the tying run. RBI double for Otto Kemp. We're tied at 4.
Yep, that sinker and just stays right down the middle of the plate. And Kemp was just waiting for it. Had an uncomfortable looking swing at that first slider he saw, but knew that sinker is coming. Just stayed up. Slashed it down the left field line. Here's Harrison Bader with another opportunity to become an instant hero.
Swing and a miss and a breathtaking gasp from the crowd hanging on every pitch.
Boy, 2 really good sliders from Brennan Hanifee. Pitch that he doesn't throw a great deal, but really good one to Kemp. Really good one there to Bader.
Threw another one that time that was in the strike zone. It's 0-2. Tigers in the 9th will have Ibanez, Torkelson, and Green scheduled. Remember, the Phillies have a new-look bullpen as well. Joan Duran here from Minnesota, just like Bader is. That's a laser into the dugout. That is not the way to make new friends. There he is.
Right in the steps leading up to the plate.
Hey, Bud, I don't know how you did it in Minnesota, but we don't like that around here.
But the helmet's right in back of there, just falling down from the helmet rack.
0-2. In there, strike 3. He was looking for the slider pretty clearly, and he is gone. 2 away.
Yeah, just froze him. Starts out on the outside part of the plate. Boink, right down the middle. Saw 2 sliders originally and just thinking, yep, that's going to stay off the plate. You're not going to fool me again with a slider. And then that thing just, that wicked movement comes right back over the middle.
Which leaves it for Sosa, who hit a seed to third his last time up. Here it's a chopper back to the mound. Hanifee takes his time, throws to first, wide. You could see in the footwork the speed of Sosa hurried Hanifee. At the last moment he pulled it, and that is going to be the end of his night.
Yeah, just a little bit of a bobble. You'll see that just trying to hurry. He gets there and then just, double clutches. Trying to get that ball off. Goes in originally. Oh, I don't quite have it. Got a hold of it, trying to hurry that throw. And Spencer Torkelson coming off the bag to make sure he stops that baseballer. That's down the right field line.
Hanifee is done. Herder comes. plate. 2 runners on, surrounding him, first and third, 2 out. Bryson Stott is the batter. Left on left for the second time in a row. First one is in there, strike 1.
And Brant Herter's been throwing it really well over the last 4 outings. Has 11 strikeouts over 9 2/3 innings. And most importantly, 0 runs. And left-handers are hitting just $150. Nothing better than a nice end of this inning by getting the left-handed hitter Stott out.
Dylan Dingler's blocking ability comes into play here, certainly. The runner at third, Kemp, would be the lead run. We're tied at 4. We've been tied at 3 as well. 1-1. Outside and low, 2 balls and a strike. If you don't get Stott, you have to deal with Trey Turner, the right-hander, who would be next.
Yeah, you talk about his blocking ability, and Dylan Dingler just on that last pitch, too, that sweeper. I think there's one in Stott's future, and Dylan's got to make sure that he gets over there.
Runner goes from first. It's a strike. Sosa swipes second base. Paramount, though, for Herter is strike 3.
You could see Stott, I think, looking for that sweeper. Took that fastball on the outside part of the plate.
2-2. On the ground toward third. Baez's throw is in time. Javi guns down Stott. What a rifle shot from Javi Baez. This is a challenge. We will see. That is so close. I think he might be safe.
Yep. I thought originally, in real time, I thought he was safe. But as we know,
it was a whale of an effort from Javi Baez, but Philadelphia has taken the lead. Turner, the batter. 2 on. There goes Stott. He takes second base. That was a big take of second by Sosa, by the way. It wiped away any chance for a force out.
Yep.
But you can't throw through, as you see Duran getting loose in the Philadelphia pen. One and one. In for a strike, 1-2. Turner had one below the zone last at bat that he didn't feel like was a strike. That one was closer. One, two. Wave and a miss, strike 3, but the Phillies, with 9 base runners in the last 2 innings, have taken the lead. Joan Duran from Minnesota to Philly.
just get a runner on base right away. But you know Duran has got that triple-digit fastball, averages 100 miles an hour, and that really good split finger, and another menacing knuckle curveball.
Strike one. The splitter, sinker.
Yeah, 98.
Keith on a chopper to short. Turner skids over and throws on the money, one away. Here's a message from Tiger Law.
You want Fliger Law on your side when you've been injured in an auto accident. For over 70 years,
Back at him as well. In the air, first base side. Weston Wilson hauls in out number 2. Tigers had a 3-0 lead in this game and then a 4-3 lead in this game. But the Phillies scored 3 in the 7th to tie it at 3, 2 in the 8th to lead 5-4. And it's up to Riley Green, the Tigers' home run leader, here in the 9th. Into left field on a line for Kemp. And the Phillies have come back to win the series opener behind their new acquisition, 5-4.
Well, just not the way that certainly saw that one coming, Jason. I think we're as shocked as that Tigers dugout right now. Everything was going the Tigers' way and Jack Flaherty, and then just a little bit of a crack opened up in that door by that Philadelphia offense. They never gave up and end up pulling this one out.
That is a tough one.
Yes, sir.
Right after the deadline, Philly comes back to win 5-4, and the Tigers will try to get back at it behind Tarek Skubal tomorrow.
And they got the right guy on the mound coming in. He'll be feeling that, and just he loves these challenges. He loves this atmosphere.